The idea for Outback Skies came along when I was working for a Sky TV channel as a production manager in London. During a meal break, I decided to sit in front of the Skybox and look at some of the programs on the Travel Channel and also on the general entertainment channels. And it was then I recognised a void, a gap in the market for a well-produced, high-quality series of travel programs around Australia. Originally, Outback Skies was going to follow 6 individuals around mainland Australia, someone in New South Wales, someone in Queensland, Northern Territory, Western Australia, and so on and so on. When I heard what Steve Grace was doing on his heritage tour, I decided to develop the concept a little so that it follows one person and his team 21,000 kilometres around Australia in every state and territory, 75 concerts over 4 months. He's leaving in August, he's home for Christmas. The script almost writes itself. When I first heard of the Heritage Tour, I decided to sit back and see how Steve and his team, his wife Kerry, were going to develop the concept. And as I've seen it go through various stages, I've been drawn to what they're hoping to achieve. When I first came across Steve, I thought he was a man who was genuine. He summed up Australiana just simply in his appearance. A Kubra hat, a rough beard. He's got an accent that is unmistakably Australian, and he just has a way of connecting with all types of Australians, both in the cities and especially with people out in the outback towns. We're breaking the 21,000 kilometre tour down into a number of legs around Australia using local camera crews from every state and territory. Budget permitting, we will cover as much of the tour as possible, but for where we are now, we have to be creative about how we're going to approach this project, and certainly we're looking at doing something in the Sunshine Coast, definitely through the centre of Australia, from Alice Springs and Uluru through Arnhem Land to Darwin, Crocodile Country. I'm personally looking forward to that one. Down the west coast, past all the desert and the mining towns, down to lovely Perth, around the Great Australian Bight. At this point, we plan on chartering a helicopter and flying over the Great Australian Bight, filming a little bit of Steve and his team across the Nullarbor. Port Augusta is a special town. Steve has written a song called Port Augusta that was covered by the great Slim Dusty. So I think that's going to be certainly something special for us to follow Steve through Port Augusta, down past the Ocean Road, then back up the east coast, and then Steve plans to be home for Christmas. The entire project will be coordinated from our head office in North Sydney, and we've been fortunate that the Vision FM radio network have agreed to supply some of their radio stations as our unit offices. And so we'll be plugging in with Vision FM and using some of their staff as our unit managers. We'll also have 2 cameras permanently living with Steve and his team. One camera will be with Steve and Kerry, so they can keep an ongoing journal of each town that they visited and their experiences as they make their way around this country. There'll also be another camera left with his production team, and their mandate will be to shoot anything and everything that happens on the tour. We really want to get their personal stories and a look at the tour from behind the scenes. We plan to do a live recording of 3 of Steve's concerts throughout Australia. One in the top end, one over in Western Australia and one over on the east coast somewhere. And throughout those, we want to see the diversity of experiences that Steve has. I've seen footage of Steve performing concerts under a tree in a tin shed at the back of nowhere. I've also seen him perform concerts in large decked out halls with professional lighting and sound equipment. So we're looking forward to this production. It should be something special. Just like Steve, we plan on having the time of our lives on this tour and meet the people who are the real heart and soul of Australia.